Well, welcome. I'm Elizabeth, and on this channel, we work with energy. We talk about how to master it, how to utilize it to create the life of your dreams. And today we're talking about progress versus perfection. Progress versus perfection. Uh, I thought I had a different topic that I was going to talk about, but since they kept bringing me back to this, I understand that the message is not only for you, but it is for me. You know, they say that practice it brings perfection, but I want to entertain practice equals progress because when we think about perfection, and if you, like I was, raised in the time that you had to be perfect, you had to, um, that, and one thing I've learned is that there is no perfection that we can do as long as you do the best that you can. That is what we want to work on. And when you change that phrase from practice equals perfection to practice equals progress, that changes the mental, at least it changed my mental landscape as to as long as each day, as long as each time I'm seeing a little bit of progress, I don't worry about perfection because perfection is such a block. It will keep you from doing and stepping out because you are afraid of failure. You know, I learned to roller skate as an adult. And one of the first things that they taught us in order to make progress was to learn to fall. When you learn to fall, you learn that it really isn't all that bad. Learning to surrender, to let go. And if you instead of looking at it as a failure, you look at it as an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to practice. So if you are finding yourself stuck because you're not perfect, you're not putting out your work, you're not moving on to something that you really would love to do, but because you're not doing it perfectly, you don't do it at all. And that is such a big roadblock. And I thought, I thought I had conquered that roadblock. But today, because been I haven't been doing lives in a while. I haven't been doing any videos in a while. I tried a couple of times. I started and stopped, started and stopped. And I recognized, or they reminded me, child, you don't need to be perfect. All you need is to make progress. There is somebody here that needs to hear this message also. There's somebody who is keeping themselves from moving on because they're comparing themselves against somebody else's bar. They're comparing themselves against where they are and where they would like where somebody else is. And you don't know how long somebody else has been doing what it is that you want to do or you're trying to do. You are a beginner. It used to tickle me as I would be working out in the gym and I would look at people who would walk in, spend 2 days, and get frustrated because they weren't achieving the same results that somebody who I know had been there every day for the last 2 and 3 years. And so but you never know because you haven't questioned them. So instead of looking for perfection, let's learn to look for progress. Let's pull ourselves back and say, hey, and we beat up on ourselves so bad. I was, again, physical working out. I was talking to a person who was not saying very kind things about their body. Uh, and I know that the words that were coming out of their mouth about their body was what they were repeating that somebody else had said. So again, stop comparing yourself against somebody else. Begin to look at where you are and give thanks that you have made progress toward your goal and stop comparing. Like, I'm doing this as a live so that I will not click off and I will not end the recording because it's not coming out just right. I am judging the information, especially the guy say you're judging the information before you actually get it out. Just get it out. So if you and working with energy flows. Energy is um, it has its ebb and flow, and stop beating yourself up with. I'm talking to the choir here. Stop beating yourself up about where you are in relationship to where somebody else thinks you should be. Begin to decide that you and only you can should be your meter to judge where you are. So again, think, practice whatever it is. Practice makes progress, and throw away the perfectionism because you think that that's good, but that perfectionism holds you back. It holds you back from all of the possibilities that might come in with the fall. The fall really isn't that bad. And once you understand that, you can get back up and say, this is, let me tweak it this way, let me tweak it that way. So if this message rings a bell, if you are uh, a perfectionist, I encourage you to remember that it's okay to be imperfectly. and perfectly imperfect and move on. I hope that this message helps. Please share it with somebody else who might be a perfectionist and is stuck and is not moving forward. And let me know if this rings a bell. Anyway, I am Elizabeth. If I can assist you in any way, please do contact me. Well, may light, love, and plenty of laughter accompany you on your path. As I said, have a blessed